Hey, it's Bonnie Smacker, and today I'm reviewing Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which sounds a lot like Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Sounds like a good dentist.
Oh, yeah.
What's his name?
Crentist.
Your dentist's name is Crentist. Huh. Sounds a lot like dentist.
Maybe that's why he became a dentist.
It's no secret I love MetroidVanias, as Area of Sorrow on the Game Boy Advance is still my favorite Metroidvania of all time, with Dawn of Sorrow following quick behind. Something about collecting enemy souls really tickles my brain. Thankfully, that mechanic is back here in Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, but they call them shards, as our main character is a shard bearer. This ends up being one of my favorite things the game brings back from the previous Nintendo DS Castlevanias. The other main ones being the Quest Giver, that had you killing a certain number of enemy types to receive rewards, and the crafting system that was also seen in Order of Ecclesia. While I'm not necessarily a fan of either of the later inclusions, I don't feel like you're missing out too much by ignoring them altogether. And that's perfectly fine by me, because I tend to ignore most, if not any, crafting system. So I guess it's just nice for them to be included. The gameplay in Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is the same as it ever was, and that's one of the most important things to carry over for fans of the Castlevania franchise. Weapon variety and different shard attacks makes this gameplay feel like it's the most refined this series has had. Being able to get stronger shard attacks by farming enemies can be a double-edged sword, however. Like it was in Dawn of Sorrow, there's no real reason not to burn time farming once you find a shard power that clicks for you. As for Bloodstained's map, you are once again in a giant castle, going from room to room, searching for secrets and bosses. There are still save rooms and teleportation rooms, like its spiritual inspiration, Symphony of the Night. While I'm somewhat disappointed they didn't keep the different locations from Portrait of Ruin and Order of Ecclesia, the map is still a joy to explore. And in fairness to Ritual of the Night, the rooms do vary a lot more than they have in previous Castlevania titles. Somehow they fit a desert and caverns inside this building, so I can't complain too much. I can't complain too much until we get to the bosses, that is. This is the one thing that really keeps this game from being in my top Metroidvanias. They just aren't that all interesting. They're either a humanoid or an abstract-looking creature for the most part. The only ones that really stand out for me personally are the multi-headed dragon and the very first boss you fight on a boat, which is some sort of Medusa octopus lady. Luckily, the soundtrack, especially during the multiple boss fights, is as great and energetic as any previous Castlevania title. Here's just a snippet of one of my favorite tracks. The graphics for Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, while it was one of the most successful Kickstarter campaigns of all time, I feel like the art style they went with makes the game kinda look cheap. I've already talked about how I find the abstract bosses lackluster, and lackluster is how I would describe the graphics overall. I probably would have enjoyed it more if they used like a 32-bit sprite-based art style. Not a deal breaker by any means, but hopefully if they make a sequel, the graphics will be more refined, or they just go in a totally different direction. And how did I feel about Bloodstained Ritual of the Night overall? I think it's a great spiritual successor to Castlevania Symphony of the Night. The search action gameplay that Iga coined will probably never get old, and I'm happy his team can still do what they're great at. The weapon and skill variety has never been better, and I look forward to the next game they cook up. Hopefully we'll have more souls or shards to collect. Play this one if you haven't, and if you're even remotely a fan of Metroidvanias. Thanks as always for watching. I've been Bunny Smacker, and I will see you next time. Same bunny time, same bunny channel. Alright, see ya.
Reminding you, help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered. Goodbye, everybody.